Dog, she'd be crazy, dog. I mean, my on fire, you know, but she asked me for it. What? Hold on. She asked you for it? Yeah, dog, she asked me for it. The fuck you think, man? She asked me. She did ask me. Like, I don't get it, blood. I don't get it. Like, she asked you. You serious? She asked you, yeah? I don't believe it, bro. Hey, boy, get a bread. Yeah, I don't believe you, bro. Yeah, you sure she asked you? Dog, I'm telling you, man. She asked me. She asked me for my only fucking maksk. Like, blood, your only maksk. Dog, she can't be asking you for your only maksk. Hey, bro, that's some kind of fucking... Oh, that's rude, eh? That's rude. Asking you for your only maksk. So, this opening was just dedicated to a what's it called? Just a thing I've noticed. I can't think of the bloody word now. An occurrence that happens around the world. That's not the right word either. An occurrence that happens around the world where people cannot say the word specifically. I even had someone saying pacifically this morning in a text message, like actually typing it wrong. Well, what's specifically wrong with this? So I used to teach people. I'll turn the music down a little bit. I'm just chilling in the bus. Me and Rumble decided to move in the bus. DEFCON 4 mode. Fuck all the world. Right. So anyway, let me just turn this down a wee bit. My mouse isn't going to work. This is right, by the way. Anyway. So, why do people say the word Aksk? Right? Which is fucking far more difficult. It's like saying she sells seashells by the seashore instead of saying seashell. You know, it's more difficult, you know? And yet they do it. They say, he asked me, and wherever you are in the world, where it's gangster talk, they'll usually say axed. But why the fuck don't they say maksk? Riddle me that! Riddle you this. Anyway, yeah. So why don't they say maksk? Because actually, mask is a longer word. It's an extra. I mean, you tell me the problem gets solved by adding an M on the front? Anyway, I don't want to be too petty. Before I had to cut my video short because Rumble got electrocuted to fuck. Like he got electrocuted once and he tried to run away and then he got caught between it and went, and he ran all the way back home. He's such a little boo-boo. What a little prick. He ran all the way home like a little coward. But what actually happened is he was going to chase some sheep. And that's why I was laughing, because he got his beans. I mean, yes, you did, you little idiot. You were going to chase sheep. Because he was doing his whole painted on ears scenario. He's gone a little bit deaf, but he can still hear me. But even when he had full hearing, he would pretend he doesn't hear me if it's something he really wanted to do, like chase a sheep, for example. Got his beans by electric fence. Anyway. Yeah, so the thing I was going to continue on about before. So I'm moving on from the subject of asking him about a maksk. It's my only one. And get a bread, boy! My mate Hayden wanted me to say that. Get a bread! Boy! Boy! Hey, boy! Get a bread! Anyway, moving on from that one. What I was saying before about when you have all these kleptocracies, it doesn't matter what it is. If you think about what people went under Emperor Hirohito, right? They had to dive bomb American, you know, they would give their life for the emperor, right? And still to this day would. Which is why America should have, if politics in the world was not rigged, the reason why you know it is America didn't kill the emperor, right? This guy, I mean, the things that Japan did in the name of the emperor was just insane. The thing the English have done on behalf of the king and queen over the years has been abhorrent, right? These people always get away scot-free. You notice they never bombed, for example. It was very light bombing in West London. That's because the royal family's German. And they're actually illegitimate royal family. Another story. Oh yeah. So let me turn this down a little bit further. It's distracting me too much. All right. So basically, it doesn't matter what you're under. If it's a fascist authoritarian system, it may as well be a hegemony, a kleptocracy, that's the money goes to the thieves at the top, autocracy, an autocrat, just one single ruler. Technocracy, like I said before, so someone like Jeff Bezos or even his whole troop getting in there and effectively us worshipping, yeah, go to war, yeah, fly the flag of Amazon as you march into battle. I mean, it sounds far-fetched, but it's something that could happen if we allow things to go the way they're going right now and give corporations absolute control, because that's what is actually happening. It's a money shift from the people to the corporations, facilitated by the government that apparently works for us. And this is why when you understand how government really works, you think, why do we really need it? Oh, to administer roads. Why the fuck are we still using roads? We're only using roads because they won't let us use flying cars. They won't let the technology come out that's been out since the Muller Sky Car in 1987, I think the Muller Sky Car first came out. Definitely by the 90s it was being test flown in cables and stuff like that. And it had 4 to 5 Rotax motors, depending on the model you had. I mean, it's not like we wanted to... Rotax being 2-stroke motors, they're not actually rotary Rotax. They have them in a lot of speedboats and stuff. You can actually get them quite efficient as well. I mean, they've got power band and everything on them. So, yeah, let me just turn this down a little bit further, actually, because I'm just mindful of the fact that sometimes microphones pick up things, background noise, louder than they pick up foreground noise. I hope the video is not ruined, but anyway. So, oh damn, Bitcoin's at 6653. I sold out last night at 6650. Okay, pretty much the same. Yeah, good. Just looking at the price up here. I'm just doing a little bit of trading here and there since I've got time on my hands. Yeah, so these governments, right? So it doesn't matter what it is, it still has the same effect. If you were someone who was commanded to go into war for threat of desertion, because you didn't go for the Queen's War so she could get more oil or have a little fight with the Germans or her cousins anyway. The whole thing's ridiculous. While they don't bomb the palaces or anything like that, they just bomb where the people are, and the people aren't the ones making the rules. Doesn't it start to look a bit ridiculous after some time that the people who are really causing all these problems in the world, I mean, take just for example, sorry, the average American doesn't go anywhere, right? I'm talking about the average American doesn't go anywhere. The average person anywhere in the world doesn't go anywhere. So how do these average people end up with enemies across the world? They don't. The governments do. And the thing is, those governments probably didn't even have... we're just taking their word for the fact that they're an enemy of ours. And then we go to war. What it usually is empire building or regime change. Because they want a puppet or they want the land. There's no other reason. There's never been an attack in history where someone said, you know what? I truly believe they're going to attack us. And let's preempt that by attacking them. You know, it doesn't... Don't believe this, because that's the narrative that's been used in recent times from America. Like, for example, the general that got killed in Iran. That was because he might do something in the future, and we got intelligence that he might do something. Well, based upon that, Iran have complete, carte blanche to do whatever they want in America, because they can just say, well, America has been, we can already see, it's in 159 countries. It looks like it's trying to take over the world, if we didn't know better. So let's say that we're excused in attacking it. Or you could say the same about China. Well, China is, it's got its meat hooks in every country in the world, just like England has, right? It looks like it's trying to take over the world through an economic means by basically buying everyone out, using fake money, and then also using a paradigm of globalization where everything's produced in their country by slave labor, which we can't compete with. Because our assholes decided to say globalism is good before we actually have global standards. See, that's the problem with globalism. You don't have global standards, then you end up having the lowest common denominator. Who can do it the cheapest? Who doesn't mind enslaving their people? Okay, Bangladesh, Like India, they don't mind the untouchable classes. Some of these countries, right? India's another one. India has by it's a different type of colonization, but if you look at Fiji and many other places around the world, actually even South Africa, very good example. Thabo Mbeki, not Thabo Mbeki, sorry, Jacob Zuma was busted with I can't remember the name of the brothers, the two Indian brothers, politically active in South Africa, corrupt as all hell, and they just got found out a couple of years ago. I mean, they were in the high echelons of control in South African government. These fuckers, right? They were basically South Africa's answer to the Koch brothers, right? And again, so it doesn't matter where you go in the world. Motherfuckers are from every race, right? There's definitely a high balance of white motherfuckers in the world, right? But there's I'm still in character, dog. There. Yeah, more than our fair share of white fuckers. Look, I think the balance of power changed. It's nothing to do with necessarily superior intelligence, because I still believe that maybe some Asian races like Koreans and Japanese are probably more intelligent on average than white people are. It's about balance of power. That balance of power does shift here and there. I'm pretty sure you let the world go long enough, you might get an African, a globalist African ruler who is plundering the earth just like they plunder their own. That's the thing, people pretend some places have no guilt. No, everywhere has guilt to share, because everywhere has motherfuckers, right, who take control of other people. So fundamentally, when you really look at it, is besides all these things being the same, that if it's fascist authoritarianism, doesn't matter if it's a kleptocracy, doesn't matter if it's a hegemony, doesn't matter if it's a whatever else it is, if it's a socialist paradigm or a communist paradigm, or even a crony capitalist like we have in most of the world at the moment. It doesn't make a difference. If it's authoritarianism, it's authoritarianism. This is why you can see on the left, the left became more authoritarian than the right in America and in the UK and in New Zealand. Demanding that people do this, demanding right think. You can't think that. What? Sorry, Orwell? What? And this is what we've been seeing over time in the last few years. So it's not healthy, but it leads me to a point I was talking about to another guy in the UK yesterday. We were talking about localization, which is my preference is localization / it's anarchy is very similar. To have control of your area, it doesn't take away technology. You still strive to have technology. You still trade with people. What it is that you are the guardian of your land. You're never going to create a bad decision that's going to pollute the earth because your kids and your grandkids are going to live exactly in that area, are you? This is the problem we're getting, is people are making decisions for areas that they'll never live in, never visit, and they don't care about. And that's why we're destroying the planet. So that part gets solved straight away. It also creates a situation where if you don't have governments giving, let's say, unfair. So this is the thing, anarcho-capitalism, which is another take on anarchism, is where that idealism from capitalism. This is why I don't really I'm not fully into the whole idea, but the idealism from capitalism is that it regulates itself, as long as you don't bring in government. But the truth of the matter, what really happens is you end up getting cartelling and kind of gangster scenario, right? And the thing is, that is still actually a better balance, though. That is still a better balance than what we have now, because what we have now is the gangsters and the pedophiles. They're all protected by the legal system. So you do anything wrong, they can hunt you down with the resources that everyone pays for and find you. In a world where it's actually true anarchy, what you can do is band together with your people. You've got a fighting chance. That's the difference between the system now. You don't have a fighting chance. You're just gonna lose. You've got everything. You've got the system against you. You're fucked, right? But when you have anarchy, you do have a fighting chance. You can choose to arm yourself. You can choose not to arm yourself. You can choose to have a militia of your neighbors, and only one in every 4 persons armed. But then again, you've got together. There's anarchy again. You've got together. Some people are producing food. Some people are protecting the neighborhood. That's what anarchy is. Localism, effectively, right? And that overall, when someone's getting too big for their boots and fucking with your area, you can simply all band together to kill them. End of story. They can send people in, but then it's going to be power balance. Who end up winning? Then it'll just be battles. But we're already doing these battles. We're just doing them for less. Basically, we're doing them for less noble means. That's the only difference. We're sending Americans and British and French and Bulgarians, even all people from all over the EU are getting sent to these regime change wars that America and Israel start. Okay, and England. And there's no morality in this. There's no, you can't say, oh, I'm really proud to have served there. I mean, you can say that if you don't have your fucking eyes open and you really choose that, you know, it was a really good thing that the American government did going into Vietnam and killing 1 million people and 60,000 of their own soldiers. It was really noble. It wasn't. It was purely to sell weapons. It was purely to mobilize the military, because you have warmongers in charge, just like you do today. Of course, Trump's not as much as a warmonger, but then again, all he is an actor. Now, this is the thing. You can't really change. Well, apparently, according to some scientists, what's his name again? He might be fake. He might not even exist. He might just be sitting a vegetable in a chair. I know he might be dead now as well. Actually, Hawkins, right? Stephen Hawkins. He said there's no. In conclusion to episode 3 of series 1 of the series that he did called, I can't remember the name of the series. Genius. No, it's not coming to me. Yeah, there's a series that Stephen Hawkins did. Anyways, episode 3. And he said that there's no such thing as free will, but he did it through a series of exercises, right? If there's no such thing as free will, that means things can only slightly change. You can bend things, but they'll go back to their course again. And that's what I think what we're living in, this kind of reality realm, whatever you want to call it, globe Earth, flat earthers, please stop calling it flat Earth, call it realm Earth or something. You sound stupid. You sound like a child when you say flat Earth. You just sound dumb, like you've been reading too many Bible stories and just got caught up. Anyway, I won't get into it. Multiverse, whatever it may be. The other one is the synthetic universe, no hologram universe, that kind of thing. You know, where they reckon everything's all programmed in a kind of matrix. Doesn't matter what you believe this reality is, but whatever this reality is, does seem that way. Like no matter how much the will is, if the fate was meant to go a certain way, it will just go that way. Just look at the American election cycle. The whole thing has been proven to be fake. So in depth now. I mean, Bernie Sanders is completely controlled opposition. There's no way that guy ever wanted in power. There's no way now, and it breaks my heart to say, there's no way that Tulsi, I put so much effort behind him in 2016, and then also Tulsi Gabbard until recently. And I also thought, I always thought politics is fake, but just in case it isn't. I mean, for people who think that I'm actually blue-pilled enough to actually believe that politics was real, what I thought was, just in case there's an element of truth here, you may as well have someone in. But another reason for it was, if you could bring in the right people, and then they fell in line as well, then you could expose the system. Well, this has already happened, right? The systems all around the world are completely, totally, 100% fake. They are chosen for us, and the only difference is, you might be able to affect the puppet. You can't affect the hand under the puppet, but you can affect the puppet. And the puppet shows different faces. And this is a really rude puppet. Oh, look, he said fart and ass and bum and I'm going to grab your pussy, right? Different puppet, right? You get offended by the puppet. I can't believe what Trump said, man. Trump's in charge. Fucking Trump derangement syndrome, right? And yet, if Hillary was in the same position as Trump, there'd be more killing because she would be prompting the wars that Trump won't take us out of, that he said he would take us out of, but the world out of, but he didn't. Because it's not just, when I say us, it is the world. If they stayed in their own fucking country and mind their own business, I would say them. But it's us because they impose themselves upon the whole world. You know, of course, China to a degree, Russia to a degree do these things as well. But and England, of course. I mean, historically, England and Rome, you know, were terrible. If you look through Africa, of course, the Belgians and the Portuguese and the Spanish and, you know, in South America as well, imposed themselves. This is why, you know, you can say us when it comes to these fucking empires, right? But all these empires at the end of the day, what did it get them all? We're all still sharing this earth. The best idea would be to get rid of all countries. Imagine there's no countries. Don't mean to sound like a fucking hippie. It's not about happiness. It's about looking at the end result. We're on a fucking floating little island in space. Whether it's a fucking flat thing, or we're in a floating island that's in space, that is computer simulated for us, whatever. It's still the same conditions that are programmed into it, right? So I'm not going to buy any of these side fucking stories that people come up with to derail the conversation, because they're actually irrelevant. Whatever this reality is what we have, right? So here we are years later. The Roman Empire's come and it's gone. All these different currencies. You got they all lasted between 80 to 100 years. America's just on 100 years now. American currency came in for the World Reserve in 1920, and now it's 2020. Well, that's pretty much as long as they go. British currency was 105 years, I think it was. The Dutch and the Portuguese were 80 years. Spanish was, I think, 95. No, Netherlands was 95. Spanish was 100. You get my point. They don't last much longer than 100 years. So we're ready for a paradigm shift that was supposed to happen. And these things, they go by certain rules. The elite go by certain rules. And it's the same. They've been passing on the torch to each other for fucking generations and generations. And probably millennia. The only thing is, I want to know is, are they serving some other master that is either other dimensional or otherworldly or even alien or of some higher power? Is it a god? Is it Lucifer? Is that who they all serve? We don't know. We don't know anything. I don't want to take anything off the table. I don't want to sound like a nut by proposing any of these things. But you have to keep an open mind. And that's what I was saying in the video I've just done. Keep an open mind and prepare for all eventualities. So don't spend all your time watching videos when you could have been down the shops getting some supplies rather than rushing to buy later on, or completely missing out and going, oh, I haven't got any toilet paper. So, not that matters so much, just wash your ass. It's amazing the things that people hold to be dear and important when they're really not. So yeah, sustenance is important. The ability to have fresh, clean water, or even have some stored. Start storing a few things. So you run your tap in your house just in case something fucked up happens that, they turn. If we were going into martial law, and let's say in this scenario, if the systems all around the world were going to either purge us. Remember the Georgia Guidestones told you about. It talks about the Agenda 21, which is the 500. Maintain a population of 500 million. That's what it says on the Georgia Guidestones, right? And Agenda 21 is the exact same thing. And the strange photographs on the wall so I'll try and remember to share these today actually, in Denver airport. These are all kind of, with the guy with the Nazi uniform with the gas mask and all the people carrying below from all different nations, I used to, when I lived in Denver, and I looked at that, I thought, it's amazing how brazen they are. And then I'll go across a bit more, and there's a fucking stone that shows this thing where it's all commissioned by the fucking the compass, how they have the compass, that's their fucking symbol, that's their symbol. Yeah, so it shows that, and I thought, how brazen can they get? And the Georgia Guidestones, same thing. How brazen can they get? But this is the thing. It's like these things are meant to be prophecies because they tell us they are and they make them so. It's foregone conclusion because they, I get this one wrong all the time. I always say foregone conclusion, but what I actually mean is if you believe it, it will happen. Now, yeah, kind of law of attraction, that kind of stuff, isn't it? So, if that was happening and they're coming to all our countries, what are you going to wish you had? So I got given stick yesterday for putting a post about a guy in his garden in England who created a bunker. And my friend Andy, real extreme lefty libtard. Sorry, but I mean, I've got to see how it is. Extreme socialist. Trust the system. I just want to share love, and that's why I said in the other video, may I furnish you with a fresh knife, my brother, so you can stab me cleanly, whatever. Rape my wife with a fresh thing of KY jelly so you don't chafe your cock. Because that is the attitude of these kind of extreme liberals. It's completely... What it is, it's a roll over on the floor and give up your life for your enemy so that your enemy can flourish. And I will never, ever support that. That's not even socialism. It's not even true liberalism. Because I still class myself as a liberal, but a true one. Not this libtard, this complete fucking spanner in the works, fuck-up version of liberalism. I'm also a few other things though. I'd say I'm libertarian liberal who believes in a kind of anarchistic or localistic localism, right? Local autonomy. So what would you have to prepare for these times? Well, I'd say weaponry would be a good one, you know, at least enough weaponry to disarm the person who might have greater weaponry than you, if you can get your tactics right. Because the thing is, you don't want to sit there and in a country like the UK, it's going to be very risky for you to get a gun, isn't it? Because I mean, you're going to be sitting in a country that has very high penalties for having that sort of thing. So, but you have got a lot of close quarter places, right? And I hope if you're lucky enough to know Wing Chun or Krav Maga or something like that, you'd be better off in that circumstances because you can use it to your advantage. But if you can't, you can come up with something. You can create some kind of trap or weapon so that when the fuckers come for you, if it were to happen, you can disarm them. And now you've got their weapon. Well, there's none of this. Oh, why do you have that weapon? Well, I have that weapon that actually, as it happens, because you sent your fucking forces that I've paid for to come and kill me, you piece of shit. And now we're all coming to get you, right? You've got to stay alive long enough to I mean, that's in a scenario where this might happen. It might never happen, right? I'm just saying, be prepared for any situation. Anyway, Andy went off about preppers being selfish. Big long diatribe. It was kind of pathetic. Basically, he's saying it's disgusting for thinking ahead. It's disgusting if you make any plans at all. I mean, if we really thought like that, if thinking ahead was a bad thing, your kids would be living just in a mud hut and you sitting there with just poo and shit everywhere, sitting there just rubbing yourself with feces, trying to keep the flies off. I don't know, trying to keep the mozzies off. You know, I can just imagine what it'd be like. That's the thing that really annoys me about the cozy world we have nowadays, is that certain types of people get elevated into certain status, and they could never ever build the world that they live in. You know, that's the thing that I find horrible. You know, as much as I've studied computers and all, and economics and all other things, I can build stuff. I can make things happen. You know, I can make a fire. I can burn some bricks. I can extract metal from rock. You know, I can do a lot of different things. And if you find that you can't do any one of these things, you've got to start, instead of looking at these conspiracy videos, maybe go fucking learn something. Maybe go learn how to make a nest that is going to keep you safe from snakes and insects if you live somewhere like Australia. You know, a hut that's elevated off the ground, or learn how to burn wood if it's wet, and start a fire when wood's basically damp, and somewhere like Alaska or something. Doesn't matter. You know, if you're somewhere that rains a lot, you just start thinking, what would be useful? What if I didn't have the internet tomorrow? What would I really wish I had done? And also, what if everything fell to shit tomorrow and there was army rolling through the streets and they had our name on each bullet? You know, what would I be scrambling to do? I mean, the human being's going to want to survive, right? Even though I don't give a shit about dying, I know when faced with death, I'm going to fight to cling to it, right? It's just human nature. Even someone who's about to commit suicide tomorrow, if you actually try to chase him down with a gun, he's going to run for his life, isn't he? It's weird. It's just how people work, right? It's just like the girlfriend situation. Oh, I was going to break up with her tomorrow, and she breaks up with you. Oh, what? Oh my God, I'm devastated. That's how it happens. I know, I've done that a few times. Been like, oh yeah, I'll wait for her to break up with me first, and I don't want her to go through the pain. And eventually it's like, nah, fuck this, I just can't handle this. She's a fucking annoying bitch. And then she breaks up with you, and it's like, fuck. Good few times that happened to me. Yeah, anyway, so yeah, do what you can to learn more. It's definitely better to learn than it is to watch movies, but then there is that peak of information absorption that peters off after an hour. Depends how old you are, depends how many vitamins and stuff you have in your system, how well you're taking care of yourself. When your main attention span will actually break off, your focus will start to drop. Then blob out and watch a movie. Just plan your day properly. You don't sit there watching movies all day, and then when night time comes, oh shit, I was going to go buy those batteries for that. And get the stuff you need to get now, because later on you might not be able to get the batteries, you might not be able to get the extra tanks of fuel. And I know it sounds like I'm saying hoarding right now. I'm not. I'm saying each time you go, just get a little bit more. I've been doing this for months. A little bit more, a little bit more. About 1 week of food can last you easily a month, right? I mean, most of us eat until we're actually, oh man, oh, I couldn't eat anymore, oh. And then a lot of us even throw shit away. you actually find you can be a lot more frugal, and hey, it doesn't hurt to lose some weight. I mean, I know I could lose something about like 100 kilograms again, maybe about 95. I don't know. And the thing is, when the more lean you get, well, the more lean you get, isn't it? It's called lean for a reason. You know, it's efficient. Your body becomes efficient. Just like you lean out a two-stroke motor and you get way more power, but then the engine fucks up and heats up too fast. Which isn't the same with human beings, because the skinnier you are, my kind of stepdad, Des, in New Zealand, he's skinny and wiry and he smokes like a chimney, he's done weed and everything, and yet he still soldiers on, you know what I mean? He's got some health problems, but he's like, man, he's in his late 70s and shit, the things he's done, it's insane. I wish I could only last like even 10 years within that time, you know what I mean? I'd be doing well. So yeah, all I'm trying to do is garner information and things that are going to help me. And I know, you know, if anything happened, like the internet went down, this country doesn't have 5G. Just for people who are on that bandwagon of 5G might be this. I was involved in a 5G thing over in America, a company called Pulse. What the fuck was it called again? Pulse Wireless down in New Mexico in Albuquerque. They were using 5G Li-Fi. That's light instead of Wi-Fi wireless fidelity. It's light fidelity, right? So it's basically pulsating, and the pulsations are 60 gigahertz or 60 gigahertz, I think it is. So this is called millimeter wave. It allows for much faster, much higher bandwidth, which means the pipe is wider. Speed is called latency, right? So people get that wrong. Your internet speed is not faster when you have more megabits a second. That's your bandwidth being wider. You can put more bits per block, you know, per block of information, basically. Per packet. Well, packets go through. You get more packets through per second. So anyway, on that note, look, I'm gonna say on first inspection, being someone who did his CCNA years ago and understands networking very well. I did a degree in it. Well, in IT, networking was part of it, and that was one of my strongest areas next to project management. You know, it could be true, it could not be true, because the governments were definitely experimenting with weaponry. Raytheon had been for a long time, and actually Raytheon, this is a really strange one. The 2.4 gigahertz frequency that we use for Wi-Fi and cordless phones and that sort of stuff around your house, and also the 5.8 gigahertz frequency was actually, it was defined and chosen by the Raytheon. Raytheon is the big weaponry company in America, probably the biggest in the world. So it does raise eyebrows, but of course, as I said before, military use technology before people do. And then it goes to people. So military, we're using my company back in New Zealand called Meshed. This back in 2002, I started a wireless internet company there. Didn't have great success at first. It was okay. I did a lot of the hotels around the Hawke's Bay area and some vineyards and stuff, just doing point-to-point links. I know a lot about RF basically, right? I'm not I didn't just fall off the turnip truck, right? So I understand even back then, a friend of mine, David Maru, I put an amplifier on his roof. I remember him getting, this is through a metal roof as well in a warehouse. I remember taking the antenna off because he started to get headaches. Now it was 1,000 milliwatts, so it is a fucking powerful amplifier, right? I mean, as far as those amplifiers go, that's really powerful. And with the antenna, you're talking an EIRP, which is an effective radiation output, because it gets multiplied by the antenna. For a 15 dBi antenna, you're probably looking something like 5-6 watts. You know, it's like a little bit of a mobile microwave. So, but the frequency it is shouldn't really excite water molecules. It's a different frequency than, I think it's 900 megahertz or something that's used. I need to look this up actually. I can't remember. I used to know, but it's for microwaves ovens. They use a different frequency. It excites water molecules. And you can actually get a rheostat, a variable resistor, to actually change the oscillation, right? And so that you can change the frequency of the microwave. So you can actually transmit different frequencies. And this is why when a microwave is broken, you get some that are not quite working right. The plate heats up. It's not sending the right frequency, and so it's heating up a different type of molecule in water, right? So you fucking hell, and the thing's freezing cold inside, or your pie's got nothing, and the plate is cracking on the microwave, right? So basically, I understand that there is a lot that we don't know about that. There is an English scientist in this area who was on YouTube talking about this sort of stuff years ago, and saying that it's a weapon and it's basically fucking up our DNA beyond anything else. And I would believe that. It's actually rewiring things. If you imagine the machines inside your body that actually take your DNA continually, these little machines, this is inside your blood, and it basically unzips your DNA to duplicate it, right? So one gets turned and gets coded backwards. This is why we end up having the aging process we have, because when it gets coded backwards, this is where the most of the mistakes happen, and you get these well, basically your cells are getting degraded as time goes on, because the copying process isn't perfect. One's getting copied in a forward motion, one's getting copied in a backward motion, right? So basically, it seems like it assists the breakdown in this process, which is making the aging process happen, which is making us get cancers and that kind of thing, right? So it does make perfect sense. Remember all the hoo-ha years ago, back in 1998, when they had about wearing an earpiece? Remember that? And it's like, oh yeah, I don't put it next to my head anymore. Yep, you put your phone next to your balls, right? And then we wonder why now. Oh, yeah, all the what's it called? The breeding rate, whatever, the fertility rate in people in the West is going down, but in people in Africa it's going up. Now, my theory was that they want the people who are more woke, if you like, red pill woke, not libtard woke, right, which is fake woke. But the people who are more open to what's going on in the world, they don't want them to breed. They don't want first world people to breed. They want third world people to breed because they want slaves, right? Well, they did want slaves. I think they're happy with the robot slaves that are coming up soon. That are all, well, we've got everything almost automated. So what ends up happening is these things actually are, if you look at it, they might help us in some way, but they could have just said, no, that's, imagine they just said, look, Wi-Fi, even years ago, and let's say 2G and 3G, they're all outlawed. You can't use them because government legislation says that you can't use them, right? Well, we would just have to use wired internet, wouldn't we, until they came up with a different thing. It could have been something that was a mild sonic wave, so it was like, you know, you can actually get sonic transmission. You can transmit things that are lower than the frequencies that we can hear, or higher, and then you get something just like a modem works. It sends, the receiver picks it up, and this it could be near field sonic Wi-Fi, right? Or sci-fi, whatever. That's a funny one. Anyway, but yeah, they could have done that easy, but they didn't do that. Instead, they chose to roll out a weapon worldwide. I mean, a weapon, something that degrades our health worldwide. There's no doubt about it. So when people, when the major deep conspiracy theorist guys who are jumping on every conspiracy, whether it's true or not, when they start talking about this as if it's something big, I have to agree it could be. You know, it definitely could be, given, you know, multiple factors. Not just the effect of certain frequencies on the body, because everything in this universe does seem to it resonates and produces frequencies, or resonates from frequencies getting produced elsewhere, and we interface and interact in such a way. I mean, even the way we speak is frequency in it. Light's a frequency, so frequencies are everywhere. So we definitely could be affected by something that is, of course, everywhere, and does seem to, well, we already know affects us. We already know, like the other day, the hammer trick that my friend did, where he smacked 2 hammers behind the back of my head. Ping! Ping! I couldn't believe it cured my headache. I was amazed. I didn't know that's what he was doing until I asked later on, so it wasn't the placebo effect either. So yeah, I say you got to take them maybe with a pinch of salt, but maybe with a very tiny pinch of salt, because they could actually be true. It could be messing with us, or it could be controlling something. It could be controlling nanobots, because we don't know what's level the as I said yesterday, we don't know what level the government's technology that they've used our money to create has gotten them. And that's the thing. The way to see it is that the way that socialism works, for example, and the way that the government process works, is it's like the situation with Scotland and England, right? England's in control, and Scotland feeds the beast that controls it. It basically furnishes its enemy with a new knife every day. Its attacker. It gives its new attacker uh, basically KY jelly to rub on its dick while wearing a condom that has spikes on it. You know what I mean? So that it tears your arse apart. That's effectively what you're doing, and this is why I can't see a scenario where government actually is needed. We can just, the thing is, people like Nikola Tesla and people like Leonardo da Vinci. Do you think they required a government to do what they did? They just sat in their labs producing stuff, and the best inventions of the world, the best people in the world, would still do that without a government. If you take the technology we have to allow people to mobilize and get together without restriction. So, for example, the best scientists in China deciding, yeah, we do want to work on DNA research. We do want to see if we can create a human being that has an IQ of 400. And then when that human being grows up, tell him, look, can you just do one thing? Can you just dedicate your life? We'll make sure you get food and everything. Can you dedicate your life to solving our problems and also creating someone who's twice as smart as you? And so on, and so on. And that may be how we actually get throughout the stars and get off this continual cycle of species or civilizations almost making it and then get shot down. Almost making it shot. We don't know how many more times we can do that before a meteor hits the planet, the sun extinguishes, the Earth loses its orbit for whatever fucking is reason, or aliens attack. We don't know what's in store for us. We don't know how much time we've got left. It could be 50 billion years, and it could be a little honey. No, okay. I didn't notice there's honey on this video before. Nice wholesome girl. There. Damn. I need to get out more. Alright, so I'm going to leave it at that. It's been 41 minutes, 44 seconds. Bye.